I found out from her that there were 2 schools here in Mexico City that teach this, and that she had over 1,000 friends that could do this in Mexico City. Other Mexican kids that were able to see with their hands or their feet or other levels and could know anything about what they're looking at. Then I found out that there were 3 schools in Russia, and I was able to do research when I was in Russia around all of this, and they've known about it for a long time. They're far more advanced in Russia over Mexico or China. They've got kids there that can do things that these kids have never thought about. That's the whole thing. One kid has to think of something, and then once they think of something, then all the other kids says, "Oh, I can do that," and they can do the same thing. It's just like they just have to imagine something, and they're there. They're there. The kids in Russia can just pick up a book, hold it for a second, and they got the book, not only on their inner screen like a computer where they can scroll down and look at it, but they instantaneously know everything that author knows about that subject. They know it all. Whatever he knew, or she knew, they know. And lots and lots and lots. I mean, I'm just touching on some of the subjects of what they've done. The Chinese are even able to change DNA molecules just by looking at them. And they through scientific study where they're looking at the molecule, and the kids just look at it, and they can actually alter the codons and everything inside that, which implies awesome possibilities of evolution. So at any rate, to make a long story short again, these kids are beginning to pop up everywhere, and it's all tied to an ability to see in darkness rather than in light. With a lot of research and a lot of study, since I know this is true because I had the experience, it's not like I'm guessing. I know, I understand what they're doing. I've been doing a lot of research around this. Recently, I took a group to through the Four Corners area of the United States, doing ceremony with the Anasazi Indians. And when I was in the Navajo Nation, we were going into something called Antelope Canyon. And it belongs to the Navajo Nation, and it's one of the most remarkable places I've ever been in my life. But when we were to get there, the only way they'll do it is they make you get out of the car, and they drive you there. They won't let you go there. And this Navajo shaman, he was maybe 35, 40 years old, and his 2 grandmothers, who were in their 50s and 60s, well, probably 60s at least. They each drove a truck out to about 20 miles on this dirt road out to where we were. And so we got out there, and I had a group of about 55 people that we were going around with. And this man, Darwin was his name, he took us through the canyon to the other side. He got to the other side. He told us stories. He's looking at us and going through this whole thing. He took us back. He sang us peyote songs, did all this thing for us. We got back to the other side, and he's out on the other side, and he's showing us the natural snake pattern on the outside of this, leading into this canyon. And he's describing all the details in it, and he's telling us, look here and here. And as he's doing that, I'm standing here next to his grandmother, and she goes, "It's really amazing, isn't it?" I go, "What?" I mean, he's doing all these things, and he's absolutely blind. He can't see anything. I go, "You mean he drove me out here in the truck?" And he's blind. He goes, "Yep." So I got back in the truck with this guy, and he drove me out there. He's completely blind. He's driving down this road like crazy, you know. And he's another one of them. They're all over the place. In Russia, they can train any blind person to do this. They can take a blind person and teach them how to see. It takes about 2 years of training, unless you're under 14, and they can do it in about 2 weeks. But there's a whole other world opening up here. Something extraordinary is occurring in the world. And Jimmy Twyman's finding them in Bulgaria. They're popping up everywhere now. And these are called the super psychic children. These are not the indigo kids. The indigo kids are connected to wherever there are lots of computers. It's a whole another phenomenon that's occurring at the same time while this other one is occurring. And you can almost count how many computers there are per capita and tell how many indigos are inside of there. And they have another thing happening. They can't do this kind of stuff with their hands and feet and everything. So what's it all about? And what is this special thing that they are bringing to this world, and why are they doing it? Well, this is my opinion, and you may come up to another one. But what I've learned is that there is a place inside of your heart. It was known in ancient times. It's been almost completely forgotten now. But there is a sacred space inside of your heart that if spirit learns how to leave the mind, and I mean absolutely, literally, go out of the head and travel through the body and go into the heart and then find this sacred opening and go inside that sacred opening and then find another tiny sacred space inside that heart, that God resides there. God is everywhere, but boy is God there. And when you enter into that space, you and God become one. And all things are possible. And all knowledge is present there. You can know anything. And you can see out into the outer world from that space. You can connect back to it even though you are inside of your heart in darkness. You can connect back into this outer world out here and know anything, past, present, or future. What it means, ultimately, I can only tell you what I think it means. Because we're going to all have to live this. We're all going to go through this. We're all going to remember this at one point in this. It's tied to the creation itself. When someone prays to God for something, when they sit down and in all honesty pray, perhaps for their wife or mother or son or daughter to be healed of something, or themselves, or something else, when they go in and they sincerely pray, most of the time nothing happens. Zero. But sometimes something does happen. Sometimes a miracle occurs. And people very often don't know why. You have 10 people praying, nothing happens, and one of them, a miracle occurs. Well, the science of miracles was written down, I don't know how long ago it was over 2,500 years ago, however old the Dead Sea Scrolls were. They found another scroll near the Dead Sea Scrolls that Greg Braden has written into a book called The Isaiah Effect, and the exact details of how you create a miracle were done there. You have to include your mind, your heart, and your body all at the same time. If you leave out any one of those pieces, nothing happens. But what Greg has found, we've sat and talked about this for a long time, and we're all coming to the same conclusion, the people that work in this, is that, yeah, you can create miracles from the mind. You can do it. You can do things that are just extraordinary from the mind. Psychic abilities, I've worked with the Monroe Institute. I've worked with the Berkeley Psychic Institute. I've done and seen things that most people would never believe, but I've seen it. But nevertheless, it's still coming from the mind. But the mind has one big problem. The mind is a polarized instrument that is polarized left and right. It's polarized again with the front and back lobes. Everything in it, as it looks out into this one reality, sees everything as polarized. And anything it creates through this mind always creates a polarized reality. And so if you're praying for world peace, you're going to get world peace, but you're also going to get world war.